of more rain across Arizona is great news for our low-water reservoirs. We'll take a closer look at where new rainfall can do the most good. Plus, we'll tell you what the state is doing to protect our present water supplies. And this video may make you dizzy. Experience what a world-class gymnast sees as she trains for a possible spot on the Olympic team. Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News. I'm Elle Johns. While recent storms have certainly caused plenty of damage across Arizona, at least some of that water is making its way to our reservoirs. Jamie Warren traveled to Lake Pleasant today to get a first-hand look.
As the rainfall begins once again here in the valley, some are holding out hope that all this wet weather will cause a dent in Arizona's drought. But when it comes to refilling our reservoirs, it all depends on exactly where and how it rains. It was a quiet day at Lake Pleasant as gray clouds rolled in over the water, but it was hard to find even a single person outside enjoying the scenic view.
People are usually on the lake, rain or shine.
But Donna Taylor with the Parks and Recreation Department says today is a little bit different, and that's because she thinks most people are at home, preparing for yet another storm that's expected to hit.
The last storm in particular, we had to shut down the park because the wash flooded the roadway, so there was no way to get into the park.
Taylor says the water level is rising thanks to our recent storms, but not by much. Before the storm, Lake Pleasant was 56% full. After the storm, it's up to 58% full. Experts say it would have been more had the rain fallen further north. That's because most of the water that fills our reservoirs come from the high country and winter storms. Meanwhile, rangers expect the lake to be open this week, but cruise with caution.
If you are coming out with a boat with the rains coming, I would say make sure that you keep a watchful eye for debris over on the lake because we do have water that runs off from different areas.
I've been working closely with Cronkite News reporter Stephen Hamway on this developing story. Stephen, you've been talking to SRP and the Central Arizona Project. How are Arizona's other reservoirs doing?
Jamie, as you said, I spoke with officials at Salt River Project and Central Arizona Project, and they told me essentially the same thing. Despite the damage the storm caused in Metro Phoenix, the reservoirs were relatively unaffected. Both Roosevelt Lake and Lake Pleasant reported 1% increases to their water levels after the storm.
And what about this upcoming storm that we're anticipating? Will that have any significant impact?
Not much. The reservoirs tend to get most of their water from winter storms, which provide snow runoff in the high country. Even if Phoenix sees another flood, our reservoirs should have plenty of room for more water.
Thanks, Stephen. And looking at these skies behind me, it's been pretty cloudy all day. So far, I've just experienced a couple sprinkles as I've been out here, but it doesn't seem that the rain will be as bad as we experienced last week. Live from downtown Phoenix, Jamie Warren, Cronkite News.
Our weather team has been watching the skies and the radar as remnants of Hurricane Odell swirl into Arizona. Yahaira Jaquez is out in Tempe to show us what is going on with the weather.
We positioned ourselves in the East Valley ahead of the storms. It just stopped sprinkling after about 45 minutes of rain. The wind is calm, but it's starting to pick up. And above me, there's a heavy cloud that's moving deeper east. So Katrina, can you give us a better idea of the source of this moisture?
Well, the moisture is making its way into Arizona because Tropical Storm Odell is making its way north into southern Arizona. That moisture is going to give us thunderstorms over the next few days. But currently, we're sitting at 82 degrees with a 65% humidity and a dew point at 69 degrees. In and around the state, we see Tucson at 81, Prescott at 78, and Yuma at 95 degrees. Tonight, we are going to stay in the lower 80s at 81 degrees with a 40% chance of rain. Tomorrow, you may wake up to rain, so remember, plan ahead when driving. Don't drive through flooded areas. Some valley cities may receive 1 to 3 inches of rain. Looking out into our 5-day forecast, Wednesday and Thursday, we have the biggest percentage of rain at 60 and 70%. There is a flood advisory warning in Phoenix until Thursday evening. Going into this weekend, Friday through Sunday, we're going to decrease our storm chances but increase our temperatures. For Cronkite Weather, I'm Katrina Arroyos.
A crucial water resource near Payson is under new protection. As Lacey Darrow reports, an agreement signed by federal, local, and private agencies will help prevent debris from wildfires from contaminating the C.C. Cragen Reservoir.
Areas like Payson are known for their tall trees and mountain vistas, but many Arizona residents don't realize the forest's effects on communities beyond the miles of pines.
Those forests have a broad impact on all of our lives, whether it's recreation, whether it's wildlife, whether it's industry, or whether it's your water supply.
Tucked among these trees is the C.C. Cragen Reservoir, which provides water to Arizona residents all over the state. Several federal, local, and private agencies came together to sign an agreement to protect it from fire damage.
We say win-win quite a bit. That's always the goal, but I think in this type of partnership, it really is a win-win situation.
When it comes to the valley in the city of Phoenix and the Salt River Project, healthy forests equal a healthy water supply.
The agreement calls for forest thinning, prescribed fires, and other measures that would reduce the risk of ash, debris, and other sediment from fouling and damaging the water supply. It's a process many agree is a proactive approach to what could be a costly problem.
We've got to spend a little bit, invest in that healthy forest, try and reduce that risk or minimize the effects of fire. And typically, I think what we're going to find over time is that's probably a cheaper route.
But we've seen estimates as high as 30 times more expensive.
Now, SRP is looking to partner with other agencies throughout the state to protect other water reservoirs from fire damage. From Payson, I'm Lacey Darrow reporting for Cronkite News.
The agreement is just one of several partnerships that will take place throughout the West. Let's turn to Lacey Darrow with what's coming up on Cronkite News.
Months after thousands of unaccompanied minors from Central America came to the U.S., the Department of Homeland Security says it could happen again. And a Valley church is hoping to build community by providing shelter to a Valley immigrant. See how the church is helping keep this family together.
Brothers and sisters, can you tell me where to go?
The women were breaking the glass ceiling.
That just thrilled me. We're traveling back in time to help solve family mysteries.
No way! That's amazing.
A new deal for the American people.
We wouldn't be who we are without them.
I just gotta get on back to my home at any cost.
Who were the people that got us from there?
A world without glass, clean drinking water, time, or light.
To here.
These were hobbyists, garage inventors, and obsessive tinkerers. These are people who actually made the modern world, who set off an amazing chain reaction of ideas.
It's the story of How We Got to Now with Stephen Johnson, coming in October, only on PBS.
I'm standing up for myself and for other people like me.
Wow. This is a bit odd.
Are you okay?
It's kind of insane, but in a good way.
The number of unaccompanied children trying to cross the U.S. border continues to drop. That's according to the Deputy Homeland Security Secretary. He spoke openly today on how he thinks America should move forward with the immigration crisis. Reporter Brittany Bay joins us from Washington with his recommendations. Brittany?
Unescapable violence. That's one of the reasons causing thousands of parents in Central America to send their kids on a dangerous journey alone. The Deputy Secretary and some immigration officials that I spoke with today both agreed that the best way to prevent another flood from immigrant children from happening again is to make the place they're running away from safer.
So my life was beautiful.
Margarita's beautiful life in Honduras ended when thieves targeted her family.
So 5 thieves basically put guns to their heads, to her head and her husband's head. They basically tried to take their money away.
After that, Margarita and her son, like thousands of others, crossed the border to escape the violence.
Victory is accomplished when those cities and towns that suffer violence no longer do.
Secretary Mayorkas says the violence in Central America is far from over, meaning it's likely these decreasing numbers could rise again.
If indeed we begin to observe an uptick in the number of unaccompanied children migrating to the southwest border and specifically the Rio Grande Valley, we are prepared to address that uptick.
But immigration activists say the department's focus on the Rio Grande could cause history to repeat itself.
What historically has happened. It's like a bubble. You know, you push one side of the bottle of the bubble, then, you know, the water goes somewhere else.
Whether it's through the Rio Grande, New Mexico, or Arizona, Margarita says if she gets deported,
If they do deport me, I will come back. I don't want to be there.
with no signs of the violence in Central America letting up and the Arizona weather starting to cool down, the Department of Homeland Security says that it is possible that another wave of unaccompanied children could be gearing up to cross the border in the next few months. Live from Washington, D.C., Brittany Bade, Cronkite News.
Immigrants that are in the U.S. on deferred action now have to apply to stay here. It's been 2 years since President Barack Obama introduced the program that allows people who were brought into the United States illegally as children to work legally. Mackenzie Scott talked with one young man who hopes to be able to stay with his siblings who are American citizens.
My parents brought me when I was 9 months on a tourist visa. They overstayed it. They like to hear better.
Born in Mexico, Franco Milan is now 24 and one of many dreamers trying to stay in the United States. He applied for DACA, Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, in 2012, and now only a year after getting approved, he's applied for renewal.
You keep on renewing it, and it's, you know, I'm sure they want to see that you don't get into any trouble. That's why they're doing the whole renewal stuff. So it's good, you know, but it's a little bit frustrating that you got to renew every 2 years.
The program allows child immigrants between ages 15 to 30 to legally work in the United States. At 66%, Arizona has the highest percentage of renewals out of all states, but one lawyer says that not everyone knows the rules of renewal.
The fear is if you were to file less than 120 days or less than 4 months prior to your expiration date of DACA, then you lose DACA. You ultimately don't have your work permit. There's that danger again of being put into removal proceedings.
Roman says DACA is a temporary fix and permanent relief is needed. She thinks that may come from an executive order. But State Representative John Kavanaugh doesn't agree.
There is no permanent solution with an executive order. It's an illegal order. It would never hold up in court. It would never hold up if you had a new president who had respect for the law and the Constitution. So it's a political game, and it doesn't benefit anybody.
Milan, who currently works in real estate, hopes that President Obama makes changes that will allow dreamers to stay in the States.
After a certain age, we can't apply for DACA anymore, so that's going to be an issue. So I hope he passes something, pushes something before his presidential years are over.
In Phoenix, Mackenzie Scott, Cronkite News.
As of March, 23,000 applied to renew their DACA. That's according to a report by the Migration Policy Institute. A Tempe church is now the third in the state to offer an immigrant sanctuary. Reporter Darby Fitzgerald went to the church to find out this man's story.
Next thing I know, an elder stepped forward and said, "I move we offer sanctuary."
And it's here at University Presbyterian Church where they've opened their doors for sanctuary.
Mi nombre es Luis López. Soy de Guatemala.
Luis is an immigrant from Guatemala. He came to America when he was 16 in 2007.
I came here, I was studying and working, and from there, they took me over there to immigration.
He's applied for asylum, but was denied.
The truth is that since they denied me the first time and the second time, and so now I'm afraid immigration will come to my house.
He came to the church to feel safe.
We welcome anybody that walks through our doors, regardless of race, income, sexual orientation, evidently citizen status.
But for Luis, it's about more than safety.
I don't want to separate from my family.
For right now, Luis is with his family and in a safe place. He's staying here in this small room with only a few of his things. But what his family does have is hope.
We know that if we seek help, like being here in the sanctuary, there is hope, and that's all we have right now.
And above all, have faith in God, because for God, there is no separation of families.
In Tempe, Darby Fitzgerald, Cronkite News.
Reverend Letterman says that this is not a political issue for the church, but rather a moral issue. He says that they are trying to find a way to bring community together. Megan Guthrie joins us for more when Cronkite News returns.
A severe respiratory virus is spreading across the country, and it may have already hit Arizona. We'll let you know how to protect yourself from getting sick. And see how technology is changing the tune of Alzheimer's care. Welcome back to Cronkite News. A virus continues to spread across the country, and Arizona health officials say that it has already reached the state. Cronkite News reporter Alexis Armstrong joins us with more information on the virus. Alexa, are there any confirmed cases in the state?
Well, Megan, there aren't any confirmed cases in the state of Arizona right now, but there are 104 cases in 10 different states across the U.S.
How can you know if you have the virus?
Hospitals are sending samples to the CDC, but other than that, we have no way of knowing. I spoke with someone in the health department, and she said that the virus is more common with children.
So what we're seeing right now with D68 is that it's really hitting kids hard, especially those children that have asthma. So in addition to cold symptoms, some children are experiencing difficulty breathing, shortness of breath, and wheezing.
Wrigler told us that signs that parents need to watch out for include regular symptoms of a cold accompanied by fever or breathing problems. The best defense against the virus is thorough hand washing and disinfecting surfaces like counters and doorknobs, and also keeping kids out of school to cut down any spread of sickness. The virus is spread through sneezing and coughing and touching contaminated surfaces. In the Media Center, Alexa Armstrong, Cronkite News.
The powerful relationship between music and memory is helping one Phoenix retirement community in the fight against Alzheimer's. Cronkite News reporter Michael Gordon visited Beatitudes campus to see and hear how their program works.
At the Beatitudes Retirement Campus in Phoenix, Tina Alonzo and her staff are using music to improve the quality of life for residents suffering from Alzheimer's.
When the music plays, you can see life and vitality that did not exist there prior.
The music itself comes from donated iPods, courtesy of the Music and Memory program that began in New York and has spread across the nation.
Music and Memory have been wonderful instructors and educators about the importance of music and what it can do for the lives of people who are struggling with dementia.
People like Miss Maria, whose advanced Alzheimer's restricts her ability to move freely and communicate, but then her caretakers cue up her iPod and something amazing happens. And tapping to the beat, she smiles and laughs as she hears her favorite mariachi songs, and then a calm washes over her as the music allows her to reminisce about the years of her youth.
It's just a matter of what each song, means to that person at that time.
The families of residents in the Music and Memory program also participate, counseling the staff on which music genres to load onto the iPods, advising them as to which music would be most beneficial to their loved ones.
It draws them closer to the process of being able to really help this person enjoy something fully.
As the benefits of music therapy continue to be explored, one thing seems certain: where our words fail, music continues to speak. In Phoenix, Michael Gordon reporting, Cronkite News.
We bring it back to Elle Johns to see what's coming up next. Elle?
A simple sticker could help police recover stolen property. Details on the new bike program ahead.
News doesn't stop on Friday at 7:30 at night. PBS NewsHour Weekend is kind of a natural next step. The NewsHour's been committed to being available on air or online, and now weekdays or weekends. There's no shortage of news that's out there, but why do people come to us? To give them some context and analysis that they can't find somewhere else.
PBS NewsHour Weekend, only on PBS. Check local listings.
These extraordinary Americans all share one thing in common: a past they never knew until now.
It's incredible.
In his new season on PBS, Henry Louis Gates Jr. helps them uncover the truth about where they come from.
I can't believe that these documents even exist.
Wow. Get to know them as they discover who they really are.
That's pretty amazing.
Finding Your Roots with Henry Louis Gates Jr. starts Tuesday, September 23rd at 8, 7 Central, only on PBS.
I'm free. I'm free. And freedom tastes of reality.
Thieves in Phoenix are going to have to work a little harder to steal bikes thanks to a new program from the Phoenix Police Department.
Phoenix Police held their first Back Up Your Bike event today at the Arizona Center, aimed at reducing bicycle thefts. Chris Spale was the first to sign up.
Even if it doesn't prevent being taken, maybe it prevents it, like gone forever. There's a chance you can get it back. Pretty good chance, actually, yeah.
Chris's bicycle was stolen before, and he hopes this will make it less likely to happen again.
So, it can happen anytime, daytime, nighttime. There's folks who want bikes, they have tools, they have knowledge, but this is a great tool, even if that does happen.
To register, you fill out an agreement and get a sticker with a serial number for your bike. The program doesn't cost anything.
We're still not out of that hard economic time, so we figured if we made it free, then there's really no reason not to register your bike.
Sergeant Lowe believes that this will be a good deterrent for thieves.
There's different measures you can do in order to prevent your house from getting burglarized, turning on your lights, having views of your windows, things like that, like SEPTED type concepts. Same thing, it's a bike.
By registering, Chris is hoping he doesn't have to replace another expensive bike.
They're thinking of ways to help, as not just to be proactive, not reactive.
Phoenix police think that this will reduce thefts and encourage bike riding downtown.
The next Back Up Your Bike event will be held tonight from 5 to 7 at 605 East Grant. A Gilbert gymnast has her eyes set on the 2016 Rio Olympics. She just competed at the Pan Am Games. Ariana Graney caught up with her when she returned.
You're seeing what Michaela Skinner sees every day. Dizzying turns on a balance beam just 4 inches wide. Skinner just returned from the Pan Am Games, winning 4 gold medals.
Definitely winning all around. Usually I just am on individual events, so it was really cool to be able to improve myself and make the all around in gold.
Skinner trains at Desert Lights Gymnastics in Chandler. She's working towards a spot on the U.S. team at the Summer Olympics in Rio in 2016. And she's focused on the next step, including being invited to train for the World Selection Camp with Bella Caroli.
Definitely just hard work every day in the gym, and then I just have to go to camp and just look as good as I did at Pan Am, so hopefully I can make the world team and then just do good at Worlds.
Skinner's coach, Lisa Spini, will go with her to camp in Houston and try to help her as she competes for a spot.
It's great. It's just, I mean, it was a lot of hard work, years of hard work getting here. And it's, of course, been our goal for the last several years with her.
Michaela Skinner has been training here at Desert Lights for the past 7 years, and she spends an average of 32 hours a week training, making this her home away from home. Olympic training may be relatively new to Skinner. It is not new to the Spini husband and wife team.
Coach Minnie, 1976 we had the USA national champion and Olympian.
Now, almost 40 years later, Michaela Skinner is ready to be the next Olympian. A lot of people wonder what it's like to be a gymnast, keeping their concentration through the dizzying moves that you see here behind us. That's why we wanted to bring the experience to the Cronkite News viewers, and we did it by placing this GoPro camera on Michaela's forehead as she practiced her routines.
Some great shots there. Did the camera throw her off at all?
Well, when it was on her forehead, it did fall forward a little like this because it couldn't keep up with how fast her head was moving, like you see right there. It's just an indication of the extremes that a gymnast puts their bodies through.
Thanks, Ariana. That's it for Cronkite News tonight.
Thanks for joining us. Good night.